Honda S2000, the FD RX7, and the late Dodge Viper. Oh my! Ladies and gentlemen, that is a lineup that all left us way too soon. So we gotta pour out a little motor oil for the homies. And yes, they were good, but with some tweaks, they could have been better. So today on Idealist, I'm gonna make a wish list and I need your guys' help. Yes, let's go over all the coolest cars that have been killed off and they need to build again, with some modifications, of course. Buckle up and let's go. Okay, first off, I'm gonna start this off with 3 little words. The Honda S2000. Wait, was that 2 words? Okay, yeah, maybe that was 2, but one thing's for sure. The S2000, it's glorious. Still, today, after being around for over 2 decades. When it first came out, you remember that? It was packed with all this automotive goodness. You know, a 6-speed manual, front engine, right wheel drive, and that itty bitty 4-banger that stung like a bee with its VTEC 2-liter. What? Did I just say that? VTEC? Yeah, which helped this little engine that could fly high into the revs, pumping out 2 horsepower per cubic inch and ripping to 9,000 RPM before you had to shift. Which yes, if you want to show how much you love manuals, check out this Ideal T. It'll add 5 horsepower to whatever car you drive. And going back to that 2-liter, that motor that the Honda boys made was straight up art. The chassis was just as good as the power plant. But unfortunately, yes, there was an automotive crisis in 2008 and the S2000 was no more. Recently though, there has been whispers at the water cooler about the new mid-engine hybrid S2000 in the works, which yes, I agree would be rad because one thing the OG power plant was missing was torque. And you gotta have some hope because the fact that Honda just released the new NSX a few years ago, which hate it or love it, is an engineering marvel. But because it's a supercar, it leaves a slot open for Honda to make a little rear-wheel drive convertible. But just like their neighbors, Mazda could create competition with the hybrid Miata, which, word on the street, is what they're gonna be doing sooner than later. But the star of the show for Mazda has always been the Japanese tuner car hero. Yes, the Mazda RX7 is probably the most iconic cornerstone in the automotive industry. So, is it the best on track? Is it the most reliable? Well, no. Is it the best looking JDM car from the 90s? Absolutely. This 3rd generation variant, dubbed the FD-RX7, sports Mazda's tried and true unreliable rotary engine technology. Okay, it must have not been that bad since the performance-focused rotary vehicles sold in excess of 800,000 examples of them in the 90s and early 2000s. But the spits and the bangs, coupled with the exceptional handling, made it an instant cult icon. What made it go were the trick sequential turbochargers that essentially kept boost locked. It was a marvel that only lived until 2002, and I think I speak for most of us. Those rotary engines, they kind of scare us. But what if they brought back something less scary? Well, Mazda teased with the RX version during the 2015 Tokyo Motor Show. And yes, it had a rotary engine, but I just feel like rotaries today somehow will be more reliable than yesteryear. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm dreaming. Oh, shit, there's a snake. Oh man, where am I? Is this? Yes, baby, it is Viper Central. And I know some of you like them big.
It's a little beyond big.
It's a schnoz.
And you can only go big or go home with the boys over at Dodge. Yet the reason that the Dodge Viper was even created is kind of romantic, actually. You see, Chrysler found themselves falling behind the rest of the big 3 sales-wise. So they decided to do something about it. And they did something that no company should or would ever do. They essentially built a concept race car for the public. And it was developed in collaboration with the legendary Carroll Shelby himself and based loosely on the Shelby Cobra. Okay, it was more of an exact ripoff. I mean, just 30 years later. What, you don't trust me? Shelby or Viper had door handles? Nope. How about windows? No. A roof? No way, Jose. In fact, Trav and I got stuck in a torrential downpour in our Gen 1 Viper. And that was probably hands down the best time of our lives. Don't tell our wives about it.
Please don't tell Donna.
Anyway, the Gen 1 had this monstrous V10 that Lamborghini had a helping hand in. This thing was essentially a race car for the road. And up until its demise, it was something crazy. For its victory lap in 2016, Dodge secretly went around and broke 13 production car track records, which shows just how crazy a Viper was. And this thing was street legal. And although we yearn for the return of a 6th gen, I don't know if this crazy world could handle it, honestly. But question for you, do you think the lucky 13 track records was a coincidence? I definitely don't. Just like when I show you this car, yeah, this car. You think of the movie franchise that changed car culture forever. In fact, I'd say a lot of you, including your boy, wanted one of these 2nd gen Eclipses and a pair of Chucks as well. It kick-started the tuner rage across the world, and the inline 4 in that beast,
so good and tasty?
Yes, we're talking about the 4G63T. Is something that dreams are made of and hearts are broken with, because it could be turned into an absolute monster that goes bump in the night. But the glory days of two-stepping an Eclipse are long over, and it's been replaced by this crossover looking thing called an Eclipse. And that thing kind of looks like when you go to your 10-year high school reunion and the girl that you had that crush on, you know, the hot one, doesn't look at all like the girl that you had a crush on 10 years ago, if you know what I mean. Anyway, Mitsubishi has gone a completely different direction, and something like the 2nd gen wouldn't necessarily be logical to bring back, but it would be some good fun for a night. Just like the blue Oval's Escort, which the Escort would be fun by the hour. Now, the Ford Escort was a logical 4-seater family car until, well, they drank the juice and a spell was cast on it. And it started eating gravel and dirt with a side of pavement for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yeah, baby. It became one of the most successful rally cars of its generation. Brilliantly lightweight, a nifty special edition engine setup tuned by the one and only Cosworth, and an appetite to just slay. A plain Jane variant is meh. But a remake of the 5th gen Ford Escort RS Cosworth homologation special is one I don't think anyone would kick out of their garage and would pay a lot of money to have an hour with. And with Ford releasing a China-only facelifted edition in 2015, there is still hope. Unlike this next, is it even a car? Well, yes, it is a car because, well, this is a car channel, and if you're enjoying this vid, hit the like button and subscribe. But on paper, the Fiero, it sounds great. Close your eyes for a second. You got a mid-engine sports car built using composite panels, which was groundbreaking at the time. But here's the thing, Pontiac didn't have a large budget when building the Mark I, so it essentially was a parts bin special. You know, you grab a part from over here and a part from over there, put them together, and you know, you got this mid-engine sports car. And unfortunately, that didn't really work. Roughly 20 Fieros per month experienced engine fires, which is 20 too many. And as much as the Fiero actually sucked, you know, it should be brought back as an electric car, which is kind of like what the original Tesla was, you know, the elongated Elise. And you know what other classic mid-engine vehicle that should be brought back as an electric car is the De Tomaso Pantera, which has a very colorful history. I mean, get this. De Tomaso was an Italian manufacturer founded by an Argentinian, Alejandro De Tomaso, and it was manufactured and designed partly in the US of A. Talk about multicultural. You know, and the Pantera was assembled in Italy and fitted with a Ford V8, thus lending a new meaning for the term American muscle. And what's wild is it took them less than a year to go from mock-up to production. Yes, from idea to on the road going down the public road. So, you'd expect it to be perfect and work perfectly, right? Hell no! Yes, it was a very bold statement when it was new, and recently these things have been commanding a premium. Check this one out. This sold for $158K plus, and it's for that. Okay, yeah, I agree. It is pretty sick looking, and a new one would be BA. But you know, your man's got a mullet. And so, you know, you have party in the front and party in the back. Or wait, no, business in the front and party in the back. Just like a, say it with me, yes, an El Camino. It was this simple workhorse that you could casually get a freaking 7.4 liter V8 in, baby. Yeah, it wasn't the first pseudo car truck ever created, but everywhere you went, you made a statement. Some may actually say that if you drove one, you probably came from the nearest trailer park. But if you ask me, that guy was the smartest guy in town. I mean, he had a V8 in the front and a bed in the back. I mean, easy access if you gotta sleep back there or something. I mean, heck, throw a canopy on top and you got yourself a baby Ritz Carlton. I can't even believe I'm saying this. I gotta get myself a haircut. Here's the deal though, a car truck would be pretty awesome nowadays, and they just really are the most optimal platform out there. So bring back an El Camino and take my money. But you know what the quote unquote it mid-engine sports car was before the Porsche came in? Yes, it was the ultra reliable, pretty good looking and fun to drive Toyota MR2. It's a great dry road sports car because they put the engine, you know, closer to the rear. In the wet, it got in a lot of trouble with that dreaded snap oversteer. But who cares? The third gen looked absolutely amazing, and it had some quirks and features that made it not so great as a daily driver. But as an enthusiast, I think we love cars that, well, aren't perfect that much more. And with rumors spreading that Toyota wants to work with Porsche to bring back the MR2, hallelujah, this is what dreams are made of. I mean, Porsche engineering, Toyota reliability, and you get an extremely fun sports car. Now, I gotta give you an honorable mention because the FJ Cruiser, for some reason, I just can't stop thinking about it. And have you heard of the FJ tax? Yeah, I mean, like, you know, 4Runners, FJs, even Jeep Wranglers, they all have that tax. But the Toyota tax in general is worth it. And a used FJ, even with a ton of miles on it, is a lot of money, especially when you consider that it's pretty much just a 4th generation 4Runner with a different body on it. But as you know, it's the body that does the talking, baby. And the design is a throwback to the OG FJ40. And although they discontinued the legacy about 10 years ago, there are now reports of an electrified FJ Cruiser revival. And from the renders, this thing looks awesome. And it seems realistically at this point, if any of the cars mentioned on this list today make a comeback, they're gonna have an electric motor. So with that in mind, which one would you guys wanna see built again? Let us know in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please like, please subscribe, help us hit 1 million subscribers. We are so close, thanks to you guys. And if you enjoyed this video, you are going to love this Idealist vid over here. I'm Brad, this is Ideal, and promise me one thing, keep living the ideal lifestyle.